Hello, I'm Beth, and this is Social Leopards. Do you sometimes start to feel a little down that yet another week has gone by and you have little to nothing to show for it? Do you sometimes feel stressed that you're not feeling it if you're watching a reel about someone else who seems to have Energizer Bunny level motivation and manages to have it all, do it all, and enjoy it all? This week's reflection is all about those feelings. Today, I'm sharing something from a Substack creator who prefers to share anonymously. Her account profile says, "Just another girl with crippling social anxiety. Good news is, I'm finally doing something about it, and I'm taking you with me." I love that so much. Courage through anonymity is still courage. Her writing is real, and I totally enjoy her vibe. This week's story is titled, "What if we don't have to reset our lives every Sunday? Sunday recharge versus Sunday reset." And without any further ado, I'll start reading. For the longest time, I loved watching Sunday reset vlogs on YouTube and TikTok first thing in the morning on my Sundays. They made me feel motivated to clean the whole apartment, do the laundry, change the sheets, do the dishes, meal prep for the entire week, you name it. And for a while, I tried doing all of that. But halfway through, I'd always end up completely overwhelmed. And worst of all, I never felt at peace on the upcoming Monday, just tired. Sure, it felt good waking up with everything done and in place, but there was one thing the creators of these reset videos rarely showed: how to recharge. I realized I don't really care about resetting anything. What I need is rest. I want to feel up to date with myself, my life, my personal projects. That's how I want to start my week. So I stopped, and I feel 10 times better. Ever since I started working full-time, it's been incredibly hard to juggle all of the responsibilities of being an adult. For months, I tried perfecting the ultimate Sunday routine, one that would make me feel productive and rested. But I eventually realized that there's no such thing as a perfect Sunday routine. Instead, I started asking myself, how was my week? Was it stressful? Did I even get a chance to rest? Depending on the answer, I adjust my Sunday accordingly. My job isn't necessarily hectic, but it is draining. I don't often have the energy to do anything other than just lie on the couch when I get back home. So the energy I have left needs to be used for chores like cooking and cleaning. But time for myself? Nuh-uh. My Sunday recharge. Sundays are the day when I say goodbye to my medium-distance partner. Either I head home or he does. I usually take care of chores on Thursdays before he arrives, or I leave to his, so that by the time Sunday rolls around, I can just be. Here's what my typical Sunday looks like. Writing. When I get home around lunchtime, I drop my bags, pack my computer, and head to a cafe where I've become a regular ever since I started this Substack. There's something about writing in cafes that just works for me. I order lunch paired with a sweet latte which I sip during the time I write. I'm usually there for 2 to 3 hours with no specific goal in mind, just writing. Writing session features what's in my bag: notebook, current read, sunglasses, and headphones, and a small bag with touch-up makeup. A walk and a flower detour. If the weather is nice, I take a long detour back home after I'm done with my writing. There's a little market nearby that always has great flower deals, and I'll sometimes buy myself a bouquet. Dinner for one. I love cooking, but don't always have the energy for it. Let's be real, cooking for one person kind of sucks. I usually cereal and toast for dinner, haha. But sometimes I feel inspired and I cook something nice, and it's usually ramen or pasta. Groceries, maybe. I love grocery shopping. Walking slowly through the aisles, discovering new products, unmatched. However, I'm so easily overstimulated and anxious that it has become a hassle for me. So if I manage, it's usually a quick stop to get myself the most important stuff for dinner and breakfast. The rest will be ordered through home delivery. Reading to wind down. I'm part of a small book circle, and right now we're reading Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I love bringing my book outside or curling up in bed with it before I fall asleep. It helps me to wind down. That's it. Since I've started focusing on a routine to recharge rather than a routine to reset, I have subconsciously been sending a message to myself that I am important. My interests are important. I'm looking after and prioritizing myself above chores and other must-dos that I dread doing. Those musts can be done during the week instead, but Sundays are for me. The end. I have to admit, I've really been dialing in on these slow down and enjoy the coffee pieces lately. Reading this particular piece felt really gentle and doable, and I hadn't really given much thought to recharge versus reset, and so it really kind of made me think. Options instead of obligations felt really good to me, and it felt like kind of settling into a warm bath. It was this invitation to loosen the grip on all of the impending Monday tasks that are just barely outside your line of vision. I really smiled when I read the part about ordering groceries for pickup rather than 100% of the time heading to the store and getting overwhelmed. I don't think I actually realized how terrible my impulse shopping muscle is. My bonus daughter started to tell me about how much she loved online grocery shopping, how it was a lot easier for her, a lot less stressful for her. But I was a little skeptical when she first started to highly recommend it to me. But out of necessity, one day I did try it, and then I tried it again. And I did fall in love with it. Plus, all of my impulse buying, gone. I order what I need, and I'm actually starting to notice a lot less waste in my kitchen cupboards. Fewer things that sit around there because they looked good in the moment or they were on sale or whatever, and then they don't really translate into my daily eating habits. And now I'm hooked on pickup shopping online, picking it up. It takes like 10 minutes. I'm super close to the grocery store. Works for me. I do still make the occasional in-store trip, but find that my budget's actually more manageable when I shop online. And every time I do go to the store, I'm reminded why this is a good habit for me, because at the register, it's consistently higher than what I had anticipated, and my bags have more items than my list contained. Another point that I really loved is admitting that by the end of the week, my well is starting to run dry. The thought of gearing up for another 7 days doesn't really spark any motivation in me. I can sometimes feel more of the pending exhaustion. The author's confession about cereal and toast for dinner, how cooking for one just kind of sucks, that one struck a chord. It's kind of the realness we don't hear very often, at least not in online reels and stuff, where the objective for self-care doesn't come with guilt for simply making do. Now, luckily for me, my spouse isn't demanding when it comes to meal planning around our house. He lives this retired lifestyle. His days are full of favors for friends and time with his other retired buddies and work on his projects, and he has quite a few projects, so most days, including the weekends, I'm not really sure when I'll see him. We do enjoy our evenings together. That's sort of our little routine. But as a result, our schedules don't always match up when it comes to eating dinner. So that means planning for meals isn't a thing in our household. And let me tell you, I'm not complaining about that at all. I'm happy to drink a protein shake and eat a handful of mixed nuts and call it a night, but I digress. Another thing I really enjoyed about this article was the underlying act of kindness here, the shift from chasing a reset to simply recharging. Rather than using Sunday as a launch pad to remotivate and refocus and, kind of get all focused in on productivity, I loved how this Sunday becomes more of a sanctuary where joy isn't measured by output, but by the tiny pleasures that make the day worth living. That little flowered detour, reading a book, that relief of the groceries delivered or, pick up instead of having to go up and down every aisle in the store. It was pretty validating, this whole article, at least for me. Sunday night is often kind of hijacked by all of my thoughts about the week ahead, double-checking my work calendar, double-checking to-do lists and make sure that I'm not forgetting any commitments that I put in one place, like on my work calendar, but not on my phone calendar, those sorts of things. But reading this, I realized how really comforting it can be to also spend a few minutes shifting my focus and allowing myself the opportunity to think about what it is I need so that I can be my personal best and ready for the week ahead. Taking a little time to shut down the expectations of that week that's coming, even if that just means reading in bed or not finishing every chore or planning to do that chore earlier in the week. Sometimes the best choice is to prioritize what restores you, not what exhausts you. I may have to work on that one for the next month. Might take the next month of Sundays. I don't know, but it needs to be part of my routine, to be honest. But it sounds like a much better goal than doing it all every week and running the risk of completely disappointing myself over and over. So to anyone out there who, like me, feels that their battery is blinking red and the calendar is flipping over too fast, let this be your permission slip. It's okay if your energy for the new week is low or non-existent. Maybe, just maybe, the bravest thing you can do is claim a little space for yourself and let Sunday be yours in whatever way fills your cup. Thanks for hanging out with me today for this reflection on the Sunday Reset Plan. Now, before I depart for today, I want to share that next week I'm exploring the words of a person who lives with ADHD and wrote an article detailing her 2:00 in the morning struggles in a very interesting and informative way. It's an interesting take on the inner processing moments of the brain as it relates to ADHD. It's helpful to recognize those who struggle with ADHD in your life, and sometimes they require a slightly different level of understanding. And this article also helped me understand how to better deploy a little patience as I interact with some of my friends who have similar behaviors. And with that, it's time to sign off. Until next week, take care.